Hello, welcome to Thoughts Like Rabbits. Today we're going to be talking fast forward finales. Specifically, we're going to be talking about
Two of them.
two shows that we know of that do this. Basically, fast forward finales are TV shows that take place in between two movies. We're going to be talking about Star Wars Rebels
And How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, the How to Train Your Dragon series. A number of people do have problems with Star Wars Rebels for a number of reasons, and I can't really disagree with those reasons. Well, I can and can't disagree with some of those reasons. I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to them.
But
just like
the main problem we had was with the finale.
There was a problem with the finale, and that was
that it wasn't as necessary as they thought it was.
They were trying to they sped through the finale as instead of stretching it into a few more episodes, or maybe putting more plot in some of the filler episodes. Because
when you look at it,
fast forward finale, when you put a movie in between two, well, if you put a show in between two movies, what you get is, if the main characters of the movies are centered around the finale, or are centered in that show, then it would make sense that they would have to wrap things up so it fits in with what's going on.
But in the next Star Wars Rebels, it was a bunch of outsiders.
It was a bunch of outsiders within that universe. So it would have made more sense if they had kept going past the point of the Death Star blowing up, instead of trying to end it just before the Death Star blowing up. Which honestly didn't make much sense.
That, and it did bring up a little bit of confusion during the whole thing. Everything was happening way too fast.
Yeah, there was a lot of confusion. I mean, they shoved everything like, oh, this is what happened right after all of this happened, and it's like, okay, there were some details that I would have preferred to hear, like, did Kallus and Zeb run off to go do, I don't know, find more Lasats? Just look for all the Lasats that are just wandering around the galaxy, and to take them home.
That would have taken kind of forever, but still.
Well, that would have been a whole series in and of itself, I think.
That, and because they were trying to wrap it up right before the last movie, because they weren't the main characters of the movies,
it honestly didn't make sense to us.
And frankly, the Death Star blowing up was only one instance.
Yeah, they freed Lothal, but it didn't really have all that much to do with
the rest of Star.
It didn't really have anything to do with the Death Star blowing up. Then there's one thing I really found annoying about Star Wars Rebels is the fact that, like, as soon as they got Kallus into season 4, they had nothing to do with him, so they just kind of, like, pushed him off to the side. And they didn't even bother doing an episode where it's just, like,
him trying to get along with the clones.
No, him and Rex going to the clones to pick them up, and just, like that's Kallus's bonding experience with them. Because last they knew, he was a bad guy, so... Which would have made... Which one was it? Gregor's death?
A little more understanding.
No, well, a little more poignant.
A little more poignant,
yeah. It would have been so much sadder if we'd actually gotten, it was like, watched an entire, like, had an entire episode where we see, Callus bonding with the clones.
Probably the most with Gregor, despite the fact that he's the crazy one. That would have been interesting to see.
Something else that they left out, that they could have done a scene with Callus in it, where it's like Callus is training Hera how to fight hand-to-hand combat, because before that scene where she fights that thing that was hunting them, we hadn't gotten any proof that she was any good at hand-to-hand combat. Callus is the hand-to-hand combat expert in the group, so it would make sense that she trained under him, so it was like... And that would have been an awesome scene to show! Just like her kicking butt. Her kicking Callus's butt in a training session.
Congrats, you have just beaten the master. With a move the master can't do.
No, the two of them being interrupted and Hera the two of them getting up and walking off, and Callus making a comment like, "You know, it's going easy on you, right?"
Showing a little, even more of Callus's personality.
Yeah, just bonding with the group. Overall. I mean, because that would have been an awesome scene to include.
Mm-hmm. So when they're fighting
the way they ended it didn't really make that much sense.
Yeah, especially because
it just when the finale feels rushed because you're trying to end it just before the next
movie that it's
to fit it within a certain time period. It
doesn't make all that much sense, especially if it's outsiders. On the other hand, Dragon's Riders of Berk, the main characters from the movies are
the central focus of the show, showing what happens between a 5-year period from the first movie to the second movie.
Yeah.
And personally, I think they did a very good job up until the last season, where they realized that they had so much going on, and then suddenly they just but then the next movie takes place, they're still on Berk, and they're nowhere near Berk, so they got to get them from there to Berk in like a span of 6 episodes. They maybe took like 3 episodes at the most to go from, "Oh hey, you're needed back on Berk. Let's get you back on Berk." Instead of doing and they just left a bunch of loose ends just lying around in the background, just to shove them back onto Berk in time for the movie.
And technically, it was even a few months before the timeline of the movie.
I mean, they could have, they could have timed it a little better and just wrapped up all the loose ends. Just wrapped up all the loose ends it's 6 episodes.
Yeah, because Drago had not yet gotten his dragon.
Drago?
Yeah, he's the biggest baddie in the second movie. He's the one with the...
Yeah, but I think that's supposed to take place in between a couple of months.
Yeah.
They didn't show.
Yeah. What they could have shown was how Drago got his dragon in the first place. Instead of just showing him at the very end going, "I need to defeat Hiccup." May have to rewatch the episode, but still.
And then they'll just... Actually, though it was the last episode, they just kind of dragged everybody back to Berk for some reason, because Hiccup needed to take over because his dad was sick or something.
Even though it would have probably made more sense had they sunk the edge.
If it was the edge got destroyed and they had to go back to Berk because they had nowhere else to go. So that would have made way more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have hurt all the loose ties. It was
mm-hmm. They ended it too quickly with a really weak excuse. And frankly,
you fast forward the finale, and doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't help. You gotta figure out when you end the series, you gotta figure out from what point did the movie start. And maybe, I think the way you should do it is you should work backwards from there.
Not forwards.
Because I know they had this over-expanding story that they were going for, and then realized that they didn't have time for that, so they just kind of cut their losses and shoved them back onto the island. So that's why we think it didn't work.
Yeah.
If you can think of any other shows that do that,
let us know.
just let us know in the comments. We might have seen it. I don't know.
Might talk about it if we have seen it.
Yeah, maybe not.